Fala aí galera, vamos assistir o vídeo aqui então do Fireship sobre a OpenAI. Vamos ver como que foi esse desenrolar aí. Eu postei nas redes sociais esses dias, até onde eu estava acompanhando o assunto, que foi na segunda-feira, se eu não me engano. O que aconteceu? Até o Satya Nadella falar que provavelmente o Sam Altman e o Greg Brockman iam para a Microsoft, mas agora já parece que tudo reverteu já, parece que eles não vão mais também, vão voltar para a OpenAI. Vamos ver o que o Fireship vai falar a respeito aqui. Vamos acompanhar nesse vídeo dele aqui para ver quais foram os desenrolares aqui que ele trouxe.
Someone is lying about OpenAI, either Sam Altman, the board of directors, or both. It is November 20.
É meio complicado saber quem está mentindo, né? Quem está falando a verdade. Provavelmente tem muita informação que está omitida aí do público geral, né, da gente, e que só os caras ali por trás estão sabendo, né? Enfim, pelo todos os desenrolares que aconteceram aí, né? Pelo jeito é isso aí.
22nd, 2023, and you're watching the Code Report. Welcome back to the program. Let's first do a quick recap on what's happened over the last few days. On Friday...
Caramba, rapidão. Acho que fazia uns dias que eu não via o vídeo do Fireship. O cara deve ter ficado afastado por algum problema aí. E, nossa, fazia um tempão que eu não vi sem vídeo dele. Vamos ver depois, eu vou dar uma olhadinha se tinha mais vídeo aí. Vamos ver.
Around 3 p.m.,
Friday, todo mundo foi demitido.
Were inspired by OpenAI's board of directors, including chief scientist and co-founder Ilya Sutskever.
Então, isso que eu achei estranho depois que eu fiquei sabendo que o William, entrou junto na call para demitir o Sam. Isso ficou meio estranho, pra falar a verdade.
A few minutes later, an OpenAI statement goes public, explaining how Altman was fired for not being consistently candid in his communications with the board, which implies some sort of lying by omission. OpenAI president Greg Brockman was also demoted to assistant to the CEO. However, he promptly quit, rather than be disrespected like this. In addition, Sam Altman sent this cryptic tweet saying, "I love you all," making it obvious that Ilya had betrayed him, giving us a narrative that plays out almost exactly like Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, where the dictator becomes too much of a dick, and then when he...
Too much of a dick. Então, enfim, tá. Foi uma coisa muito, assim, repentina, uma sexta-feira, né, mano? É meio foda isso, né? Sexta-feira é foda, né?
He's a good friend among his assassins, says, "You too, Brutus." By Saturday, there were all kinds of theories floating around. Like OpenAI had discovered...
Maluco, no mesmo dia que saiu essa notícia, os caras já no Twitter Space de abriram lá, acho que tinha 5 mil pessoas, mais de 5 mil pessoas acompanhando no Twitter Spaces isso.
General intelligence, or some other highly dangerous digital consciousness.
Aí a galera começou a falar que agora nós temos AGI e o Sam Altman tava contando pro board of their... Cara, mano, tipo assim, o Willa tava lá, mano, o cara basicamente trampa direto com isso, mano, não tem nada a ver com esse negócio de AGI aí, mano. Certeza que, tipo assim, o Sam tava pedindo às vezes pra galera fazer umas paradas meio malucas no chat GPT ou nos modelos aí pra lançar e ganhar dinheiro, tá ligado? E aí a galera ficou meio assim, entendeu? Tipo, venture capital, né? Venture capitalist, né? É isso aí.
And it was too dangerous to have Altman at the helm, or maybe Altman was getting too friendly with the Saudis, raising money for his AI chip side hustles.
Aí sim, tá vendo? Aí sim.
And another thing making Altman look bad is this letter from former OpenAI employees that contains various allegations of dishonesty that need to be investigated further. However, an internal memo leaked saying that his firing wasn't due to any malfeasance or technological issues. Now, by Sunday, Altman was already back in the building with a guest badge, negotiating his return to OpenAI with Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. These talks ended in a stalemate because Satya wanted to use Microsoft Teams, but the OpenAI board refused to compromise on Google Meet. So Altman and Brockman formed a new AI research team at Microsoft and will likely be taking many OpenAI employees with them. On Twitter, tons of people...
Isso é verdade, mano. Uma galera da OpenAI acho que fizeram suporte e tal, mano. E acho que ia mais da metade, mano. Da galera ia se demitir, ou sei lá, pedir demissão, enfim, pra, sair com o cara. Mano, assim, por mais que o cara tivesse mentindo pra quem, né? Pra, ter uma reviravolta tão grande assim, né? Talvez não fosse... ele estaria escondendo alguma informação da alta cúpula, mas, pô, a galera tava curtindo. Na verdade, assim, a galera tava curtindo porque, basicamente, mano, essa galera, talvez tava com passe livre pra construir o que quisesse, manja. E aí, meu amigo... Quem não curte, né?
Like chant, OpenAI is nothing without its people. And a little pro tip here, if you haven't done so already, I'd recommend sending out this tweet yourself because you'll instantly get multiple DMs with job offers. Over 500 OpenAI employees have threatened to quit, who could easily be absorbed by Microsoft to completely dominate the AI space. Now, in what seems to be an incredibly weak move, Ilya Sutskever tweeted that he regrets his actions in participating with the board to fire Altman. Many people have said that he's the brain behind OpenAI and the single most important figure when it comes to the technology itself. And he sent this ominous tweet a few weeks ago that said if you value human intelligence above all else, you are going to have a bad time. And now fast forward to Tuesday, November 21st, Altman officially leaves Microsoft and goes back to OpenAI as CEO. As of right now, the situation is still volatile, but it looks like Microsoft is going to come out the big winner. Altman himself is also...
Cara, a Microsoft já ganhou, ela já pôs 10 bilhões de dólares na OpenAI, mano. Tipo assim, eles já ganharam, né? Tipo assim, eles só iam ganhar mais ainda, na verdade.
Big winner, who now looks like an irreplaceable CEO with overwhelming support from employees.
Esse cara aí
What's
tá
weird though is someone
foda.
has to be lying. The board of directors indicated that Altman was lying about something very serious because there's no way you just fire someone who's as smart, effective, gay, and well-connected as Sam Altman, especially right before Hanukkah. Most likely it would be some kind of major conflict of interest, like where he's using his position to make bank behind everyone's backs by forming chip startups with the Saudis. But it seems like if there was a really good reason for his firing, somebody would have leaked that information out by now to have it all make sense in the first place. Maybe the board is lying and they didn't really have a good reason to fire Altman, aside from the fact that they thought he was becoming too powerful and influential. He was pushing AI commercialization too far, which some people think is a very dangerous thing for humanity. Therefore, the board took action to save humanity by getting rid of Altman at the first possible opportunity. But this also...
Não faz muito sentido, né? Tipo assim, eles não demitiram ele porque, eles vão proteger a humanidade. Provavelmente estava conflitando com algum interesse deles, na verdade, é isso.
Doesn't make a ton of sense because they had to have known this backlash was coming, and Altman could just go start his own AI thing at Microsoft without the arbitrary moral limitations imposed by the non-profit OpenAI. Others have speculated that board member Adam D'Angelo was behind the firing because he's the CEO of Quora, which is an unusable knockoff of Yahoo Answers that recently released its own AI product called Poe. Then on ChatGPT Dev Day a few weeks ago, it immediately became obsolete. The problem is that D'Angelo is returning to the board along with Altman as CEO, which means he's probably not the source of the drama. Although he did vote to fire Altman, the board members not returning are the two women, Tasha McCauley and Helen Toner. A big win for the patriarchy. And apparently Toner and Altman weren't playing well together recently. To replace them, we've got Brett Taylor, who was the former chairman of the board at Twitter before Elon took over, and Larry Summers, who was the former secretary of the Treasury, appointed shortly after Bill Clinton did not have sexual relations with that woman. The only other possibility is that everybody is lying. Altman, the board, and Microsoft are all working together on a giant publicity stunt as part of a grand strategy to consolidate power and achieve regulatory capture, where the techno kings get to regulate themselves to carry on the tradition of crony capitalism here in America, to ultimately make it impossible for anyone to compete with OpenAI.
Exatamente, mano. É exatamente isso. Tipo, mano, é certeza que deve ser tipo marketing, tá? Mano, bagulho muito rápido, manja. Mano, tipo assim, mano, o cara demite na sexta, aí quando ele vai pra se aliar na Microsoft, os caras, não, pode voltar pra cá. Mano, muito estranho isso, né? Muito estranho.
AI and Microsoft. This was all planned out in May of 2023 at the Bilderberg meeting, which was attended by people like Altman, Nadella, and elite insiders like Henry Kissinger. They borrowed a story from Shakespeare's Julius Caesar to keep us all entertained, and if you enjoyed it, you're really going to like the next act, where Altman brings us his final alternative to man that brings us back into perpetual balance with nature, just as the Guidestones require. Welcome back to the Code Report. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Com certeza. Como sempre, muito bom o Fireship. Como sempre, muito bom. Curtam, se inscrevam, não esqueçam de deixar o like lá no vídeo dele. Se inscrevam no canal do cara, muito bom pra caramba, show de bola. É isso, valeu, até já.